I once saw a monkey slap a woman. I was in Nicaragua, and the locals told us that we needed to see Monkey Island, and we looked at each other and said, oh yes we do. And so we hired a captain and we got on a boat and he took us out on this giant lake, and eventually we came to a series of small islands, and one of these islands was absolutely swarming with spider monkeys. And so we pull up pretty close, the captain starts handing us bananas, we tear them in half, and half a banana at a time, we throw them up on the shore and watch as the monkeys swing down and pick up the bananas and climb back into the trees. I mean, it was fun, it was cool. You're definitely not really like a South Georgia experience, so we enjoyed it. And once it was done, we said, man, that was cool, and we started settling back down on the boat for our captain to take us back to shore. And right around that time, another boat comes up. And on this boat is a young couple, a husband and a wife. And I don't know if they paid extra or if their captain was just straight crazy. But as he approached the island, he didn't stay close. He gunned it until he beached up onto Monkey Island. And then he reached back and he got one banana, he handed it to the woman, and he just sat back. Now I'm telling you, the joy on this couple's face. I mean, they were so excited. The woman goes up to the front of the boat, and she doesn't throw that banana on shore. She holds it out. And I'm telling you, you can see the joy in her face. She was so excited to see a monkey up really close. And her husband was just as happy. I mean, he was back there. He had his phone out. He's going through filters. I mean, he's ready to get the perfect picture, the perfect video of the circumstance. And as he's going through filters to find the perfect one, a monkey swings down from the tree and lands right on the front of the boat. And it's a big monkey. And the monkey walks up to her, takes the banana out of her hand, and he starts to turn away when something catches his little monkey eye. Because the woman, who's now like turned and grinning ear to ear at the camera like, it's a monkey, like this, she has her purse in her lap. And the monkey has seen the purse. And so the monkey reaches for the purse, and the lady does what any of us would do, just very naturally. She just reacts with kind of she like turns away, like to protect the purse. And do you know what the monkey did? Ah! Now, I have seen many monkey movies. I have seen Virus, I have seen Outbreak, I have seen Rampage, I have seen all 3 King Kongs and all 20 Planet of the Apes. I was pretty convinced this woman was about to die. But her husband apparently had never gotten past Curious George, all right, because he's just still filming as the monkey takes his monkey paw attached to his very long monkey arm, with lots of leverage, and he pulls back. And I'm telling you, he engaged his core, all right, to get like extra torque as he reaches back and just slaps her right in the face. And then he reached down, grabbed her purse, and walked off the boat. I think about that story. Like, I think about that moment. I think about that woman's look of shock. I think about that man's look of shame. I mean, they were so happy just a second before. All these dreams of friendly monkeys and the perfect Instagram story, and then slap, disappointment. And I wonder if that disappointment like stayed with them, right? They seemed like a young couple, maybe even on their honeymoon. I don't know, but they definitely seemed young. And this disappointment, like I wonder if it stayed with them. Like I wonder now if the lady, even today, years later, as she's going through the grocery stores, as she passes the fruit aisle, does she feel the phantom touch of a monkey's paw, right? I wonder, like, does it come up when they're fighting? Is it like her ultimate comeback? Oh, Robert, you feel like I spend a little bit too much money on shoes? I find it strange, Robert, that you seem to care about our money because you didn't seem to care when you let a monkey steal my purse. Am I being ridiculous right now? Am I? I'm probably being really ridiculous, but I don't know, maybe not. It's hard to tell. I mean, maybe they were laughing about it by the time they got back to shore, or maybe their passports were in that thing and they were in real trouble. I don't know. But, when we talk about disappointment, there's disappointment that you get over really quickly, and there's disappointment that you don't. And as we heard from Jordan this morning, man, we talked about disappointment. I want to remind you what it is. Disappointment is what happens when you have high expectations and the reality doesn't meet it. The gap between those things, that's where disappointment lives. It's when you know how the story should end, and it doesn't work out that way. And, we've all felt the sting of disappointment. I mean, some of it's minor, of course. I mean, it's like when your favorite artist releases a new single and it's like hot garbage, or it's Christmas morning and you're opening a present and it sucks. It's Move socks. It's like when you finally catch the attention of the pretty girl in your class, only to find out that she's the worst. She's terrible. It's what happens when your team plays the devil himself 2 years in a row. And 2 years in a row, you have the lead. And 2 years in a row, their starting quarterback gets injured. And 2 years in a row, you still manage to lose. Ha 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 ha. It's okay, I'm okay. It's okay, and I'm okay. See, there's some disappointment. We know it's some disappointment. It's just disappointment that we get over. It's just how life works, man. You get grumpy about it, you get bummed out, but then you move on. But there is some disappointment that does not work that way. Because there's some disappointment that has more to do with just like high expectations. Has more to do than just like imagining a story in your mind. There's some disappointment connected to not just a story you're imagining, it's connected to like your story that you're imagining. That you have a way that you think your life should go, or that you want it to go, and you've attached your dreams to that, your hopes to that, you've put your trust in that. And when those things don't happen, that leads to more than disappointment. That can lead to despair. I mean, the things we're talking about there, like, that's when you grew up. And the entire time since you were a little kid, you dreamed of playing a sport. I mean, your dreams were about winning tournaments and state championships and going to college and even to the pros. And then you don't even make the team. Or you loved him, and he told you that he loved you. And you gave months of your life to him, and then he just broke up with you like it was nothing. Like he never even cared in the first place. See, these things are more than just simple disappointment. These are the kinds of things that stick with us. These are the kinds of things that are harder to get rid of. And when you have that kind of disappointment that doesn't just go away, that kind of disappointment can lead to despair. It can take you to dark places. It can lead you to places that have names. Names like fear, loneliness, anger, shame. When you are convinced that you know how the story ends, that you believe you know exactly how the story ends, and it doesn't work out that way, it can leave you feeling like you don't even know what to do. And that's where we find Elijah. See, Elijah wanted nothing more than for his people to return to God. I mean, his faith was genuine. His commitment was real. But we found out this morning that even though he went one on like 850, even though he literally called down fire from heaven, despite all of that, nothing changed. And the disappointment that came with that was not something that Elijah could just step away from. It led to despair, which in turn led him to run hundreds of miles from where he was supposed to be until he ended up alone in a cave. And if you took the challenge that you received from Jordan this morning seriously, then you have been thinking about, praying about, getting real about what disappoints you. If you really prayed and asked God to search your heart and to show you where in your heart you are struggling, then you know how Elijah felt. You've identified your deepest disappointments, whether it's in others or yourself, or even in God, which means you know what it feels like to be in a cave. some of you may have even gotten to the place where you realize that you're in a cave right now. So tonight, we're going to see how God called Elijah out of his cave, called him back into a life of purpose and joy. And tonight, many of you, through this story, are going to find the same kind of freedom. The story of Elijah is recorded for us in 1 Kings 19. And where we pick up tonight, what's happened recently is that Elijah has been fed by an angel, and then off he goes, according to 1 Kings 19, to Horeb, the Mount of God. Now, in every other instance in Elijah's life that we have recorded, every time he has gone anywhere, it's because God has told him to go there. But this is the one instance where Elijah has gone rogue. He's gone off to a place all on his own. God has not told him to go to Horeb, which leaves it kind of up to us to try to figure out why Elijah